Good day, Sir Blasphemy here for Sir Blasphemy's Travels. Hope you guys are doing well out there, and I hope you guys are having the days you deserve. Once again, guys, I'm back here, just kind of not a lot going on, like I told you guys in the other videos before. A little bit of life off the road right now, so I'm not doing many Ren fairs this year, but I'll be back at it in 2025. But I wanted to take a moment, and because I get this question a lot, and I wanted to take a moment to talk to you guys about what life is like on the road doing Ren fairs, doing this kind of lifestyle. And so I just thought I would do a brief short video about that and kind of talk about it briefly, and maybe some of you folks out there will get some advice from it, and learn a little bit about it, and hopefully I can give you some pointers and things like that. So yeah, I mean, I tell you, I will say this: if this is something you're thinking about doing, essentially joining the circus, I would absolutely advise doing it. And I'll get to the road portion of things here in just a second. But just to throw this out, and I've mentioned this on other videos too, but just to point this out, it is absolutely freeing to do this, because there's a lot of hard work involved, depending on what your product is and how you set things up for the business if you do Ren fairs. But I mean, anytime you get to work, 2 really hard days over a weekend, and you've got 5 to kind of recuperate from that. I mean, to be honest with you, I think all jobs should be like that. I personally think we ought to work 16-hour days twice a week and have 5 days off, for personal time, because that's basically what the Ren fair is. Working it as a vendor, or maybe even as a worker, I don't know. But there's just a lot of free time, and you get, and to be fair, during that free time, again, depending on what your product is, you're making product too, so it's not like you're just sitting around goofing off. But it's nice to have that time, that schedule, to where you're basically at 4 or 5 days that you can kind of go do the things you need to get done. Now, to be honest, I do a lot of stuff that's, work related during that time, but man, it's real nice though when you have a couple of down days during the week, and you get to kind of go explore the area that you're doing, a fair in. So it's really cool. But anyway, I want to talk more about what life is like on the road. So I think the first thing, it depends on whether you're single or whether you're doing this with somebody. It's definitely a lot easier if you have somebody to do this with. Now, as a single guy doing this, it can be hard. It can be challenging at times. But I will say this: there's nothing more freeing than the open road when you're going to the next Ren fair, and you're going to be there for a couple of months or even a couple of weeks, and you got to come back and then go back, whatever. But there's that element to it too. We'll discuss that in a second. But I mean, really freeing, guys. It's really freeing. I mean, to be on the open road and to be driving and to be going to places, and you're going to go meet some extraordinary people. You're going to meet and talk with fantastic people that come to the Ren fair. I always say this about it. It's the only job I've ever had in my life where I don't realize I'm working. And then at the end of the day, you've made money, and you're, going, wow, I didn't realize I worked a full day. So, it's like that. But, when you're on the road, as a single guy or a girl, by yourself, it can be, it can be lonely. It's definitely that. That's why sometimes you guys see me taking my cats on the road or whatever, do you have some company? It can be lonely, and the work can be kind of hard, and you have to kind of pre-plan, especially if, I'm putting up my tent at certain fairs. If I don't have like a booth, I have to put it up. It's hard to put up that by yourself. It can be done, but it's really difficult because the tent is extremely heavy, and it's difficult to put up. So you're always having to kind of plan ahead of time, trying to maybe pay somebody that can meet you to set up the tent. So there's those things, and if you can't meet anybody or anything like that to set up, your booth or your tent, it can be challenging, it can be difficult, and it takes a bit. And when you're loading and unloading and you're doing it all by yourself, it's extremely difficult. So if you can do this with somebody, I would recommend that. It makes life a lot easier, especially if you have to leave the fair for like a couple of weeks to tend to something or whatever the case may be. You have somebody there that you can trust that can stay there, whether that's a spouse or a relative or a friend or even a reliable worker. But yeah, it would be a lot more fun for me if I had somebody to kind of travel with. That would be fantastic. But at the same time, it's pretty cool. I mean, you listen to the radio, you got the windows down, you're traveling back roads, which I like to do. You're stopping, seeing sights that you haven't seen on the way to go to work at one of the funnest jobs you can possibly have. I I mean, you can't beat it. You really can't, whether somebody's with you or not. But it can be lonely at times. It can be challenging. You're quiet a lot when you're traveling and things like that. So you really look forward to getting to the fair and being around your community and meeting new people and new faces and doing different things. So that's part of it. I would when you're also on the road, depending on whether you're camping at sites, at fairs, or you're maybe staying outside of that with maybe a friend, or maybe you found a really cheap hotel that's very affordable. I've done that, and it's been cheaper than maybe camping, and you get a shower and a bed and a TV and things like that, so you get some modern luxuries. But that element to it too, is something that if you're not really used to maybe being outdoors, or if you want a private shower, you're not going to get those things, because most of the fairs, they have a lot of shower stalls and stations where multiple people are in there showering, and you have a little section that you go in and shower. So, and then you go back to your tent. It's basically camping for 2 months. So if you like camping, this is definitely a lifestyle for you. Because that's basically what it is. But I mean, then you have to look at some of your expenses, is like what you're going to eat, what you're gonna you kind of have to, each location. The first thing I do is, like, if there's a new fair I'm going to, now that I have my kind of circle of fairs, I know where to go, I know what stores to go to, I know how I'm going to set things up. But in the beginning, if you don't know, the first thing you do is research, where you're going to stay. If you're not going to stay at the fair, look around and see, where your nearest, stores that you can go get, food and supplies and things like that. So you can be within an earshot, and you're not driving miles and miles and miles whenever you just maybe need something simple, or maybe you need something for your business. So, always kind of scout out your area around your fair, and see if you're going to stay there at fair or not. And see what is out there. Maybe you have an RV and there's better areas, maybe a little distance away from the fair, that's a good price, and you can do scout out your area, save your money, find your little pattern when you get to those areas. Like, I'm going to go to this store, I'm going to do this thing, this is how I do. And then that way, when you're in that rhythm, man, you just blow and go, man. That's it. And so that's kind of a little bit about life on the road. Definitely bringing essentials, you're not packing for a trip for a week. You're not packing, unless you're just going there for a week, but most of us are not doing that. I know I'm not. You have to pack for a couple of months. So what things do you need when you're going to go? If you're just going on a trip, you're not going to bring pots and pans and things like that. But when you're doing a Ren fair, you're going to want to bring that. You're going to want to bring your favorite cup. You're going to want to bring, a cooking pan, a couple of forks, a couple of spoons, plates and things like that. You're going to want to pack that with your traveling goodies. Your travel bag's got to be full. I mean, unless you plan on wearing two or three shirts the whole time for a couple of months, you got to pack quite a few shirts, quite a few socks, because you got to limit how you do your laundry, because that can be an added expense. And then you got to find where you're going to do your laundry. If you're staying at the fair itself, you got to know where the nearest laundromat's at, or somewhere where you can do laundry. So you don't want to bring, just a couple of pairs of clothes and be doing laundry every 2 or 3 days, or every 4 or 5 days, whatever the case may be. You want to do laundry, bring enough clothes to save yourself money to do laundry every 10 to 14 days. And then, and you've got plenty of time, like I said, during the week to do those things. So those are all the little things you got to think about. Those are all the little things that you kind of discover. And just think about it. What would you need if you were out camping for a month? Just stop and think about it for a moment. What would you need if you were camping in your vehicle for a month, out somewhere, out in the middle of nowhere? What would you need to bring with you? Where would you want to be close to? What would you need to get to make sure that you can kind of keep your daily life and your pattern in shape, and you can be fed and whatever? that's what you kind of have to plan for. So, it's just, these are just some things to think about, and that's what life is like on the road in a Ren fair. So, and there's much more to it. Make sure if you have a vehicle, make sure it's maintained. Make sure you got your oil changed, your tires are okay. Those are all the little things you have to think about. You have to do those things before you go on a trip, because ain't nothing worse than if you got a deadline for a setup or whatever at a fair, and all of a sudden you break down on the fair and you're put behind 2 or 3 days, and you still have to set up and do all these things, and you happen to call the fair and they're going, "Are you gonna be here? What's going on?" Some of them may fine you. It's like that. So just think about those things. Be as prepared as you can before you go to a fair, and enjoy the open road as you're driving. That's it. Alls I can tell you in the end, to wrap this video up, like I said, I just wanted it to be short, is doing Renaissance festivals is extremely freeing. And if you have an idea, fill out their application on these Ren Fair websites, submit your product to them, and let the jury see if you can make it. And if you do, it's worth it. But remember, it's not easy. It's definitely hard. You're away from home, and if you have animals, things like that, you have to plan for them. You have to pay for them to be watched, or whatever the case may be. So plan for that expense. If they're going with you, you have to plan. Hey, they're going to need food. They're going to need this. Where are they going to sleep when I get to where I'm going? Are we doing a hotel? Or are we doing camping? You have to have things made out for them, whether it's a dog or cat or whatever you have. So just think about those little things. But that's kind of what life is like on the road. Basically, life on the road for a Ren Fair person working or being a vendor there is a lot like camping 6 to 8 months a year. That's what it is. Think about if you can handle going out and camping 8 months out of the year. 8 months. If you can handle that, and what's involved in camping, whether that's showering, whether that's showering outside your own tent, you have to buy all those things. You have to be ready to do those things. You have to be ready for the little hardships, the little hiccups, like we all have to be ready for in life anyway, but more so when you're on the road. So, that's it, guys. I just wanted to do a quick, simple video. I've got something cool that's coming up here in the next week or so that I'm going to enjoy showing you thoroughly. So I've got plans for an awesome video coming up. So hang with me, and, we'll get out of the boring stage here of me just chatting your ear off. So anyway, guys, thank you guys for watching, as you guys always do. I hope you like my little chit-chat video here. This is the best I can do for you right now, but I've got a really cool video and a cool adventure coming up that I know you guys will like. So please like, subscribe, comment when you can. Always comment back 100% of the time, all the time. And tickle that bell for all future notifications, guys. So until next time, I thank you guys greatly, and we'll see you soon. Sir Blasphemy, out.